Okay, 1 second.
Can you do the gallery view? I'm thinking which
It's
side?
gallery view only.
Gallery view, no, okay.
So we have connected on Facebook.
Okay.
Want to share?
Yeah. Are you sharing now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. So we can start. And
Yeah.
okay, and today we are again back after a month, I think. Oh, or was it like 3 weeks? With another session of chat show with Pratik Desai, who is an accomplished businessman hailing from the city of Mumbai, the financial capital of India. And he is known for his illustrious academic stint that lies behind him. And he got his master's degree from the prestigious University of Florida in Gainesville. And he has been practicing Bhakti Yoga for over a decade now. He is an intellectual spiritualist because of the wealth of applied knowledge that he has gathered from um, reading and from hearing and from assimilating the knowledge of Bhakti Yoga as given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, is founder Acharya of ISKCON. It's important that we talk about ISKCON. The session is going to be about ISKCON. And his depth of understanding of the subtleties of bhakti, the process of devotion, and everything that surrounds it, which is pretty much everything, is amazing. And today in this session, we decided to pick on an educational topic, which is understanding ISKCON, and most importantly, breaking down the myths that surround the organization of ISKCON, the perception that a lot of people have. So we would like to start with having Mr. Pratik Desai talk a little bit about this area. And actually, I have a question right off the bat. Would you like me to put forward my questions, or do you want to share something with our viewers first before we start, Pratik?
Yeah, so the purpose of this class or this session is basically to address the queries of a lot of people, and especially who have negative connotations about ISKCON, because they have heard from so many people, and maybe they have some of the people who have experienced being a devotee in ISKCON, and they didn't get so much in one sense they are not satisfied with the way things were going on in ISKCON. So probably they shared their experience with other people, and that's how people started getting this negative connotation. So I just would like to clear some of the things, and I think Aritra has I prepared some questions which he has got from his friends, and so it's always a pleasure to do the talk show with Aritra. So thank you so much, Aritra, for organizing.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Yeah, like these questions that I have for you, these are over years. I have seen people ask this question, and I feel like on a forum like this, it is easier to reach out to a lot of people and clear those misconceptions so that people don't stay away just because someone told them something. All right, okay. So let me put forward a question that is about the path that is being enunciated by ISKCON. So there is a notion that and that's probably because ISKCON is such a worldwide, or has such a global appeal and followers, is that ISKCON is propagating a new kind of religion, like that is very, very modern, and that's not really something that's authentic. What do you think about that? How would you explain that?
So are you saying that ISKCON is promoting their own new ideas?
Well, some people do think that way. And that's because of the way things look. For example, like um, uh, we can see that in some temples, they say that prasadam, like pizza, is prasadam. And to an Eastern, like, more like Indian mindset, it doesn't really fit in, because that's a cultural thing. I'm just giving you an example. So
Like especially the
yeah.
introduction of chanting of holy name, Sankirtan, and these are all like new concepts, which
Right, yes, like
similar kind of things.
those are our core practices, even them. So yeah, what do you think about them?
Okay, so first and foremost, we have to go through some of the verses of Bhagavad Gita, and especially I would like to request the viewers to refer to the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, starting from verse number 4, verse number 1, which is the chapter is Transcendental Knowledge, text number 1, and it goes like this: Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavam Aham Avyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manur Ikshvaka Ikshva Kave Bravit. So the Lord said that instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, and then Vivaswan instructed this knowledge to Manu, the father of mankind, and then Manu in turn instructed it to Ishwaku. So this is the first opening verse of the fourth chapter, and the next verse talks about the parampara. Evam parampara praptam imar rajorsiyo vidu sa kalena mahata yoga nashta parantapa. So this supreme science was thus received through a chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science, it appears to be, is lost. Okay. Then next verse, it mentions about yeah. So basically, Krishna is referring to Arjuna that this ancient science of relationship is today told to you by me because you are my very devout devotee as well as my friend. Therefore, you can understand the transcendental mystery of this science. So basically, those who are devotees of the Lord and those who are very confidential servants of Lord, only they can understand. It's a secret, it's a mystery. And it's very difficult to decode the mystery unless and until we have the special mercy of the Supreme Lord. This is the verse number 3. Then verse number 4 talks about, now Arjuna is actually having a doubt. Even see now, the greatness of our culture is, or the greatness of God is that he is allowing people to ask questions, to ask him questions, to have doubt in him. Okay. Obviously, by the end of the Bhagavad Gita, he's going to clear everything and he's going to dissipate all the doubts and misgivings, whatever Arjuna has. But Krishna is actually not controlling. He's not dominating. He's not a dictator, that unless and until you surrender to him, he will not be happy with you, he will not be pleased with you, but he's willing to serve you. He's willing to answer all your questions, provided that it is in the proper approach, in proper attitude, not trying to show off that I am superior or I have greater knowledge, but I'm willing to learn something. So a person who has no knowledge of, or he has incomplete knowledge or insufficient knowledge, then he will definitely seek knowledge from others who have complete knowledge, right? So this is the proper attitude for inquiring to the absolute truth, to inquire to God. And unless and until we have that kind of attitude, we actually cannot understand these mysteries. Okay. So this is the question that now Arjuna is asking to Krishna. Arjuna uvacha aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvata katham etad vijaniyam tvam adav proktavam iti. So this is fourth chapter, fourth verse. Arjuna is saying, the sun god Vivaswan is senior by birth to you. How am I able to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? So this is a very bona fide and valid question. Krishna is appearing in Kali Yuga, and generally it's a belief that, especially the Indians, they believe that Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu. It's the other way around basically, but people believe like that in India. Most of the people have this misconception that Krishna is actually the incarnation of Vishnu. So now Krishna appeared in Dwapara Yuga. Everyone knows that, right? And that's why Arjuna is asking this question to Krishna, that how can I believe that you spoke this knowledge to sun god, Vivaswan, because you just took birth now and sun god is present since a long time. So then Krishna is going to answer the question in the next verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Bahoni me Gatitani Janmani Tava Arjuna Tani Hams Veda Sarvani Na Tvam Veta Parantapa. So the blessed Lord said, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of enemy. So Krishna says that actually you have forgotten, because Arjuna is actually a devotee and he is a living entity, whereas Krishna is actually Supreme God. So Supreme God is transcendental. This is what we have discussed earlier in our previous talk shows, that his body is transcendental, and that's why there is no question of the degradation, decaying of the body of the Supreme Lord. His body, his external body, the gross form of the Lord is not different from his soul. Okay, and it's transcendental. So transcendental means it never decays, it never dies. It is always the same. That's why Krishna actually, even though he lived for 125 years, but he looked like 16 years old. So he apparently just demonstrated that he is taking birth and then he's also evolving with time. But that evolvement also stopped beyond 16 years. So after 16 years, till the age of 125 years, Krishna's body was exactly the same. There was no transformation. That's why his body and his soul are actually the same. It's not different. So basically, this is what we have to understand, and that's why Krishna actually is eternally present. He may disappear from one particular place, just like the sun is going to appear and disappear from one particular place. Does not mean that sun has disappeared permanently. It has just disappeared from one particular location. So similarly, Krishna has also disappeared from the earthly home of Vrindavan, which is a part of the district of Mathura in India. Okay, although there are millions of universes in this, in this entire material creation, millions of universes are there, and Krishna is repeatedly taking birth in all these universes. So as soon as he finishes particular pastime in one universe, he then will continue the same pastime in another universe. For example, if Krishna has taken birth in Mathura in one universe, and then he has finished that Leela, so immediately he will actually take birth in some other universe. That's why Krishna's pastimes in this material world are also transcendental and eternal. Okay, so that's what he is actually trying to tell Arjun, that you have forgotten, but I have not forgotten, because I am the super soul and I am the Supreme Lord. So I know each and every living entity. I know, and I know the past, present, future of all the living entities and what is going to happen in this world. So in the next verse also, Krishna says that Ajopi san avyatma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakartim swam adhistaya sambhavami atmamayaya. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my own transcendental form. Right? So this is what we discussed, that his body does not deteriorate and he's appearing in his original transcendental form. And then obviously we have the very popular verse, Yada yada dharmasya glani bhavati bharata, that whenever there is decline in religious practices, then Krishna will appear. Okay. And then obviously paritrana sadhunam vijnashaya chadushrutam. Yeah, so basically, the essence of what we discussed till now is that Krishna appears in every millennium. And because Krishna has appeared in every millennium, Krishna also appears in every Dwapar Yuga. And then there is the preceding Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, which is going to appear after Dwapar Yuga. And whenever Krishna disappears from this world, the message of Krishna, the instructions of Krishna, they are recorded in the Srimad Bhagavatam for each and every millennium, whenever Krishna appears, right? So that message of Krishna in the Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita, they are recorded and they are preserved by our acharyas, by the Vaishnavas who are the devotees of the Lord. And then, depending on the instructions of the Lord, that particular religion, that particular dharma is propagated in Kali Yuga. So ISKCON, now see, ISKCON, we discussed last time, ISKCON is an organization, and there is a need for organization when you have a worldwide movement in order to unify everyone. Okay. So ISKCON is a facilitator which is helping all the devotees connect to each other for the common goal and purpose of glorifying Krishna, to love him, to develop love for him, and to go back to him. And for doing so, we need association of devotees, and we need the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So ISKCON is basically a branch of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya.
Right.
And this Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, why it is called Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is not different from Krishna, appeared in Gaudadesh, which is Bengal. And so he is the main root of this tree, of this branch. Okay. And we are followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The ISKCON devotees, they are all followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are practicing the tenets of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not giving us something which is different from the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavatam is the Amal Puran. According to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srimad Bhagavatam is the Amal Puran. So even in the Bhagavatam itself, it is clearly mentioned that after the disappearance of Krishna, the dharma has taken shelter in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna actually incarnates in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, and dharma is actually taking shelter of the Bhagavatam, basically, which means that whatever you need to know in Kali Yuga to follow, that is all given in Srimad Bhagavatam, whatever is necessary. So basically, after the disappearance of Lord Krishna, there was a long break. Okay, long break in the sense of there were not many devotees of Krishna, and there were not many genuine followers of Krishna. Very, very few followers. And then ultimately, what happened after 500 years ago? 500 years ago, and after almost, like say, Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years ago. So after thousands of years, when Krishna disappeared, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. So between that time, there was a discontinuity in terms of following the principle of Srimad Bhagavatam, practicing Vaishnavism and all that. There were Vaishnavas, but they were very few. Okay, so basically it was great stalwart Vaishnava acharyas who appeared before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who actually propagated the message of Krishna, which is represented in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, every sampradaya, they have their different scriptures as the main scripture. Although Vaishnava sampradaya means basically they are worshippers of Lord Vishnu or any incarnation of Vishnu. So they also worship Krishna. But so we have 4 Vaishnava sampradayas, and out of the 4 sampradayas, 3 of them, they are worshipping Krishna, and only one of them is actually worshipping Lord Vishnu or Lord Ram, which is basically the Ramanuja sampradaya. So we have the Nimbarka sampradaya, which is the founder acharya of Nimbarka sampradaya is Vishnu Swami. Is Nimbarka Acharya. And then we have the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. Acharya is Vishnu Swami. Vallabhacharya Sampradaya. Vallabhacharya is coming in the line of Vishnu Swami. And then we have our Brahma Madhva Sampradaya, which is Madhva, the descendants of Madhvacharya. And then there is Ramanujacharya. Now, ISKCON also is connected to Madhva Sampradaya by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is connected to Ishwarpuri. Ishwarpuri is connected to Madhavendra Puri, and Madhavendra Puri is connected to the lineage of Madhva Sampradaya. So that's how we are connected to the Madhva Sampradaya. But then ultimately, because Lord Krishna has appeared in this Sampradaya, in a very special form. That's why the Gaudiya Sampradaya, tenets of Gaudiya Sampradaya, they are actually a bit different. In fact, Madhavendra Puri is actually the link of the the origin of conjugal love in our Sampradaya. And Madhavendra Puri actually is the one who started this worship of Radha and Krishna.
Yeah, true.
In our Sampradaya. Okay, so from Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri, and then Ishwara Puri, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And obviously, now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the one who actually promoted the Harinam Sankirtan movement, because it is explicitly mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is also explicitly mentioned in the Puranas, and it is also mentioned in the Upanishads that in Kali Yuga, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is actually the essence of everything. It is Kali Kala Naam Rupe Krishna Avatar, that Krishna appears in his holy name. And in Kali Yuga, the true worship of the Lord will be congregational chanting of the holy names. The worship of the Lord will take place by congregational chanting of the holy names. So there are a lot of evidences in scriptures which speaks about the prediction. They also predict, like for example, in the Bhavishya Puran, we have a lot of predictions. But even in the Srimad Bhagavatam also, we have the 11th canto, which is, I think, 11th or 12th canto, which is dedicated to the predictions of the events which are going to take place in the future. Okay. So all these events are described in the scriptures, and it is happening like that. So it's a testimony to the scriptures that they are all genuine. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction is throughout the scriptures, throughout the Upanishads, throughout the Puranas. So many references are there, many of them. And I mean, claiming that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Krishna. Krishna is going to appear in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. So, so basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also claimed that Srimad Bhagavatam is Amal Puran and is also the national commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Okay. And Srimad Bhagavatam, if you consider very clearly, Srimad Bhagavatam mentions about the Supreme Lord being Krishna. Ete chamsha kalapum Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. That after describing all the incarnations of the Lord, finally the Bhagavatam says that Ete chamsha kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. That all these incarnations that I have described, Vaman Dev, Narsim Dev, Kachap, Matsya Avatar, all these avatars of the Lord, they are amshas of the Lord. They are part and parcels of the Lord. And but Krishna's tu Bhagwan, tu means but you are the Supreme Lord. Okay, so this is the Paribhas Sutra of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Paribhas Sutra is a sutra which is pervaded throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, throughout the scripture. It is the main essence of the scripture. So basically, the entire philosophy is oriented towards establishing the Paribhas Sutra. Okay, and then obviously we have Kalaya Dosa Nidhe Rajan Asti Ek Mahan Guna Kirtana Deva Krishna Se Mukta Sangam Param Vrajit. Okay, then we have Krishna Varnam Tusa Krishna Sango Pangarsa Parsade Yagnai Sangita Prayajanti Sumedasa. These are all given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which talks about the incarnation of Krishna in this Kali Yuga, who will worship Krishna by the congregational chanting of the holy name. Right? So these are all the verses which are given in the Bhagavatam, and then Bhagavatam also provides the essence of the culmination of all the Vedic scriptures, basically by saying that bhakti to the Lord is the essence of all the paths, and it is the most superior path. Okay. So yeah, and then we see that after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's disappearance, Mahaprabhu gave love of Krishna to many living entities. Many of them became devotees. They became stalwart acharyas. And then the bhakti movement took off. So it is not a newly introduced movement. It is introduced by Krishna himself. And as Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita itself, that I spoke this knowledge to Sun God. So basically, see, whether Krishna is giving the knowledge in brief or whether he is expanding, that does not matter, but the essence of the message remains the same. So, for example, the Bhagavatam was also spoken in just 4 verses to Brahma. It's known as the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. is it, it covers the essence of the Siddhant of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Tattva of Krishna and material nature and living entities and all that. But for the people in Kali Yuga, Vyasdev expanded the Srimad Bhagavatam by the mercy of Narad Muni. He has elaborated on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So basically, Krishna spoke in 4 verses. Then Brahma spoke to Narad Muni, in 7 verses, I guess. And then Narad Muni spoke to Vyasdev. And then Vyasdev elaborated those 7 verses into 18,000 verses. So this is actually how it happened. Basically, there are a lot of details in the scriptures which are required for the Kali Yuga living entities. Otherwise, in the previous yugas, they did not need so much knowledge because they were all pious and they were devoted to the Lord to a great extent.
Okay. Yeah, that explains it. That ISKCON is basically bringing to the forefront a tradition that is ancient, that's like timeless, through and coming down through scriptures. Okay, so on a like a corollary question, which you mentioned a little bit about the Sankirtan. So it's quite common to see in many of the, like in big cities, to see like people in color dress, like dancing and chanting the holy name, and sometimes doing it very ecstatically, trying to involve people in those performances, which are not really performances. So some people feel that it's like a show of devotion that can be practiced, without that much fanfare. So is that something that ISKCON, like, is there something wrong with it? I mean, we know it's not wrong, but how to address that perception that it is not just a show off religion, like trying to establish that how great this religion is, but it is something that is like propounded by like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for a purpose. So can you just throw some more light on public Sankirtan and how it should be taken?
Well, yeah, as we have discussed here, that basically the Harinam Sankirtan movement has been inaugurated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although Krishna name was already there, and but the most prominent way of worship was to worship the deities before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, before he inaugurated Sankirtan movement. So the devotees, they used to worship the Lord mainly through the process of deity worship, and that is established to the chanting of the Diksha mantras. Okay. Now Diksha mantra is different from the holy name. The holy name is actually the name of the Lord directly. It does not have words like Om, Swaha, Namaha. It is just the name of the Lord. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Only the names of Lord. Does not have Om Namo Narayana or Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So that is the special significance of holy name. And this holy name, so what are the benefits of that, or how the holy name is unique from the normal Diksha mantras, is that holy name can be chanted anywhere at any time in any circumstance without any rules and regulations. Anyone can chant the holy name, and they don't have to strictly follow rules and regulations. It's very easy to chant the holy name, and holy name is your just like you require some special rules and regulations, set of rules in order to, like, you need some qualification in order to chant the Diksha mantra, but you don't require any qualification to chant the holy name. Okay, so that is a speciality of the holy name, and the holy name also bestows the highest result, and it is quick. It is very quick. But only thing is that we should avoid the offenses to the holy name. So earlier the practice was more of worshipping Krishna through the Diksha mantras, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurated the Harinam Sankirtan movement, and because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurated, he also wanted the followers to follow a specific etiquette. So you know, we can just imagine how does it look if people with with shorts and jeans and t-shirts and sleeveless, or women also, if they expose their body and they chant the holy name. So it will spoil the entire meaning of the holy name, because uh, it will not give a proper impression about the chanting of the holy name. So some sort of etiquette is required in order to perform the congregational chanting of holy name. And according to Vaishnava scriptures, the the best etiquette, the best type of dressing is Vaishnava dressing, which is basically with dhoti, kurta, tilak. Okay, and that's actually it's a very uh, you can say that it's a long-lasting tradition. And obviously, what we are wearing now, Western clothes, these are like invented recently, but the existence of dhoti kurta has been since a long time. And then obviously tilak, it is common in all the sampradayas. It is common in all Vaishnava sampradayas. And tilak is basically the marking of the feet of the Lord. So basically, because the devotees, they want to worship the Lord, they want to keep the feet of the Lord on their head always. So in every sampradaya, you'll see that there is a tilak marking, because it also we can also recognize that which devotee is from which sampradaya just by the tilak markings. And I just compared this to the dressings of different people who are holding a official and formal position in the government or for the nation. Like for example, the army officers, the policemen, and then the employees also. In a company, you have employees, and then obviously now whenever you go to a company, you cannot just go with your shorts and t-shirts, right? So you have an etiquette. You sometimes you wear suit and tie and shirt, pant, and everything. You dress properly in a formal way. You are not going to dress in an informal way, unless and until like it's a Friday or a Saturday where they allow people to wear informally. But otherwise, each and every place, they have their own requirements. In order to encourage, to promote the culture of what they believe. So whether it is work culture or whether it is spiritual culture, whichever place you go, you require to dress according to that, and you have to follow that etiquette, right? So similarly, this particular, when we are chanting the holy name, the purpose is clear, that we want to please the Lord, and to please the Lord, we want to dress in a way that will attract the Lord, or which is recommended by our scriptures and acharyas. So now, see, one more thing is there. When we are wearing Western clothes, or when we are wearing any kind of cloth which is different from dhoti kurta, then what is the objective? People are dressing in this world in order to gain attention, right? They want to dress nicely so that people can look towards them. They can get attracted to their personality. So basically, it's kind of a show off also in one sense. We want to dress as smart as possible so that we can attract others' attention, or we would like to have a very cool kind of dressing, right? So basically, in one sense, to some degree, the dressing style is also connected to one's sensual intentions. But when we are wearing a very simple dress like a dhoti and kurta, you will realize that the dressing does not matter at all, because the dressing is quite simple. It is very natural, it is very simple. And especially brahmacharis and sannyasis, they wear the same colored dress every day. So what is the it does not so basically it also indicates a very simple way of living, and they don't get attracted to the externals, right? So every tradition, they have a dressing etiquette which is recommended in the scriptures. Okay, and when we dress like that, then it is for our benefit as well as it is also pleasing to the Lord, because we are trying to give up our self-centered nature. We want to gain attraction in this world by dressing very fancily, very smartly, right? But basically the idea is that the goal of every devotee is that to bring Krishna in the center, so that everyone can glorify Krishna. Every day, everyone can praise Krishna, not themselves, but Krishna or their superiors, right? That is the goal of every Vaishnava. So in any case, now you cannot say that what is the use of having a moral code or a dress code? If you do not have any dress code, then you can expose your body also, and you can do what you want to do in spiritual life. But that will seem very contradictory to the principles of the teachings of the scriptures, because scriptures also say very clearly that Krishna is actually the center, God is the center. We are meant to serve him, we are meant to glorify him. So why are you exposing your body? What is the intention? What is the, why you are doing like that? So basically there is a dress code for everything that we do in the material world, and similarly there's dress code for spiritual organizations also, spiritual sampradayas also, and then we accept that. And over a period of time, this is my realization also, I found out that the best dress that actually I am most comfortable is the dhoti and kurta. Not in the sense of wearing it all the time, but when I wear it, when I am celebrating a particular occasion or festival, I am most comfortable and I am most happy to wear it, because there is nothing to show off about it. That's the best thing of it. But here, okay, I am wearing a US Polo t-shirt, so I can actually show off to everyone. So see, what I'm wearing. And if I have a fancy car, I would like to show to everyone, right? So the more you are, the more you get involved in these things, in all these material concepts, the more you get attached to it, and the more you become the center of it. But the entire purpose of bhakti is to make the Lord the center, and that's why the dress code for women, obviously it is sari, for men it is dhoti kurta. So the idea is that minimal exposure and simplicity. That's why even in terms of shaving heads and shaving beards and all that. So Prabhupada always used to say that it is just to have a cool head. So and it is a reality also. When you have a lot of hair, you are always trying to look nice. You're always trying to comb your hair multiple times in a day. You'll try to look smart. So everything is connected to the body, and that will actually that should go away ultimately. All these superficial, artificial things, external things, they should actually go away with time, so that we can ultimately we can please the Lord, and we can make him the center of attention. So obviously now, depending on the different ashrams, they have different codes, etiquettes. For the grihasthas, it's actually not so much recommended. That it's okay. I mean, if we are not having shaved heads, or or if we are not able to wear dhoti kurta all the time, that's fine. But especially for those who are full-time devotees who are living in the temple, in order to also give people a kind of impression that these devotees are full-time devotees. So basically, see, in India, especially in India, people respect sadhus. When they see sadhus, they respect them. That's a natural tendency of people in India. These days, obviously, India also is adopting Western means and culture. So gradually it is going away. But still, people, when they see a sadhu, when they see a person in robes, in a monk dress, they respect them. at least they think that they are saintly people, and they are not expecting many things which a normal person would do. So, like for example, they will not expect that a monk will get angry on someone, or he will shout at someone, or he will, he will do certain things, he will act in such a way that will contradict his principles. And basically, they feel that they are very peaceful because they are practicing the path, so they are very peaceful, they are very calm, they are always blissful, they are always happy, they are satisfied, supposed to be satisfied and happy, content in life, and that's why they don't have any greed. And when there is no greed, obviously there is no anger, there is no lust also. So these are assumed by Indian people because they have heard the Shastras, they have seen Mahabharata, Ramayana, and many epics over the period of time, and they do understand that these people, they have special connection with the divine. So that's why. So just by looking at the monk, one can actually understand that they are divine beings. So basically, this is the standard.
But that was about how to look at the participants based on the dress they're wearing, but also the point of displaying, like exhibitionism. So a lot of people think that this is exhibitionism, but without understanding that the importance of doing it in people, that it actually benefits the people, that connection is not clear. If you can also talk about that a little bit, that it is not just mere exhibitionism and it actually serves a greater purpose.
Okay.
I mean, in Sankirtan, Sankirtan.
Well, actually, the religion of this yuga is to spread the holy name, to congregate and to chant the holy name. It is not japa, but it is actually Sankirtan. So Sankirtan meaning, what is the meaning of Sankirtan? Sankirtan. So in Sangha, in the group of people, you are calling out to the Lord. You are chanting the name of the Lord. You are calling out to the Lord. And actually, calling out to the Lord is the dharma of all religion. In Christianity, in Islam, or Judaism, or whichever you say, they all have this concept of calling out the name of God, right? So, especially in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and which is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam and in scriptures, the congregational chanting is actually favorable. Why? Because it does not only benefit ourselves, but it also benefits one who hears that. Okay, so that's why we are on the streets and we are chanting loudly, so that everyone, including the living entities like the plants, the animals, they can all benefit. What to speak of the human beings, but even all of the living entities can benefit from this chanting. So it is mentioned in scripture that if the plant will hear the holy name, the plant will attain Sukriti, and in the next life will attain a body of a human being, and it will get the opportunity to perform devotional service, and the plant can go back to Godhead in the human form of life in the next life. If the plant will perform bhakti in the next life in the form of a human being. So similarly for the animals. So the mercy is given out because the Lord wants maximum living entities to be benefited. Okay. So that's why we chant congregationally in public and loudly. So it is not a exhibition, a show of something. It is basically to distribute this love and bliss to others, the experience of love and bliss to others. That if I am happy, if I am attaining happiness in this life, and I would also like others to experience this happiness. So it is out of compassion, it is out of kindness, it is out of love. It is not to show off. The entire purpose of having exhibition of the holy name is to distribute the holy name, is to spread the holy name. So experience that. And obviously, if people are repelled by it, then obviously we don't disturb their faith. and we don't criticize them also. We appreciate which level they are at. But even if they are critical about the holy name, even if they make fun of the holy name, still they are benefited. So the entire purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributing and starting the Sankirtan movement is to actually benefit the living entities. This is the main purpose.
Okay. So even if unknowingly the senses are still working, so unknowingly when they hear the holy name being chanted in open, they are benefited. So that is the
Yes.
real that's the benefit. Like that's the benefit that we are seeking to achieve. Also, just to add, usually our sankirtans are accompanied with distribution of literature, transcendental literature, and also prasadam in several cases. So that also is is directed for the benefit of the living entities. Of course, plants and animals cannot benefit from that, but at least the living human beings can. So it's like, it's not just the Sankirtan, but there are accompanying things. So yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you, Roji. Okay. There is another question which was in my mind. I've heard is ISKCON devotees tend to be very exclusivist in their worship of Krishna, in the worship of their supreme deity, to the point of like sometimes uh, like looking down upon or demeaning other demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma. So Lord Shiva, he's known as Mahadev, Devadidev Mahadev, and still we sometimes while discussing philosophy we tend to say that, oh, Lord Shiva is don't worship Lord Shiva. There is no need to worship Lord Shiva. So that exclusivist thing, how do we understand that? Like indeed, Krishna Bhakti is the topmost without demeaning anyone, the other demigods, so to speak.
Okay, yeah. So Krishna Bhakti, ISKCON is claiming that Krishna Bhakti is topmost. Now, see, it is not, again, ISKCON is not claiming that. Basically, ISKCON, they are the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. ISKCON is just an organization. It's a branch of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, which Srila Prabhupada started. He's a founder Acharya. And it's not just ISKCON or it's not just Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but it is the scriptures which are actually describing that and establishing the fact that how Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead. And then in our previous talk show, we also concluded that how bhakti is the essence of all the paths, or all the paths, they should ultimately lead to bhakti yoga. So when we connect two of them, we understand that bhakti to Krishna is the supreme. Okay. And this is the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam. And not only Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, but even other Vaishnava Sampradayas like Vallabhacharya Sampradaya, Nimbark Sampradaya, and Madhva Sampradaya, they all say that Krishna is actually the supreme. And they all claim that Krishna is he's the Sarva Karana Karanam. Govindam Adipurusham Sarva Karana Karanam. So he is the origin of all the other incarnations of the Lord. Now, in one sense, there is no point in saying that who is the incarnation or who is the avatari and who is the avatar. Why? Because these forms are all eternal forms. Krishna's form is eternal, Narsimha form is eternal, Vamana form is eternal, Matsya form is eternal, Parshuram, Lord Ram, all these forms are eternal. So how do we say that who is coming from whom? Why do we say like that? And why do we say that Krishna is incarnation of Vishnu or Vishnu is incarnation of Krishna? Actually, the fact is that these are all eternal forms of the Lord, but they are manifesting the characteristics and qualities to some degree. Okay, and Krishna is actually the one who is manifesting the fullest, the full opulence compared to all other incarnations of, or let's say all other forms of the Lord. Okay, whether it is Lord Shiva, whether it is Vishnu, whether it is Narsimha, Rama, amongst all of them, Krishna is actually manifesting full opulence. So obviously, it is also described in the scriptures that there are certain unique qualities, characteristics of Krishna which none of the other forms of the Lord they possess, or they can demonstrate that, right? That's why bhakti to Krishna is actually considered to be the supreme. Um, and obviously, why Krishna is the supreme, that's another entire topic where we can discuss, where we can also establish the supremacy of Krishna. And then how Srimad Bhagavatam is the ultimate authority of all the scriptures, that also we can establish in a different talk show. But Vaishnavas, and especially Vallabha Sampradaya, Nimbark Sampradaya, and our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, for us, Srimad Bhagavatam is the ultimate authority. Madhvacharya considered the Mahabharata to be most prominent scripture. And for this Ramanuja Sampradaya, the Vishnu Puran is the main scripture. Okay, but still, there are a lot of evidences amongst different Vaishnava Sampradayas that how Krishna is actually the supreme personality of Godhead.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. To some more, to one more, I will say more like it's more. I feel more like an allegation that in India, especially, that ISKCON does not do anything tangible for the society, like humanitarian work, so to speak. I mean, like palpable, observable, easily perceivable humanitarian work. Besides propagating the holy name, which a lot of people don't understand, the benefit of it, and you have quite wonderfully elucidated. So, what do you say about that? What message should we give out that this is not the case?
Okay, so first and foremost, we have to understand what is welfare activity. So we are talking about welfare, but then what is that welfare activity? And we can understand the greatest welfare activity by understanding a simple fact that any activity that we perform for the benefit of others should be is categorized according to the duration of the activity, how long the activity will actually benefit the person. So if you perform a welfare activity which is going to eternally help a person, then that is the topmost welfare activity, because it is not just going to temporarily help the person, but it is going to take care of his needs eternally. So that is the greatest welfare activity. Then the second category is that you help the person for his entire life, but you are not bothered about the future life of that person. Okay. Now, many people may say that, okay, why should we be bothered about the future life? Well, if this is the reasoning, then I believe that this reasoning is coming from an atheist, because at least a sensible human being will actually, by using intelligence, can understand that every, if especially if they are believers of God, then they will understand that we are the body, we are the soul, we are not the body, right? And then, so what is the meaning of your belief if you do not really believe that? Although you know that you are the soul, you are not the body, then what is the meaning of your belief? So any person who is believing in God, they should know for sure that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. And the greatest welfare activity is performed not only just to the body, but to the spirit soul as well. Now, when they talk about welfare activity to the body, they only think of one lifetime, because they are seeing it with their present eyes, only one lifetime. But the soul, as we know, and if you have faith, then you know that, okay, the soul is actually taking bodies at different intervals, different times, changing bodies, right? And what to speak of at the time of death, but even in our own life, we have changed the body from childhood to boyhood to youth to old age. We are changing the body actually, because the cells are constantly changing after 6 or 7 years, right? So they are getting replaced by new ones, and that's how we are actually changing the body. So then why it is so difficult to understand that we are changing the body at the time of death? So the soul is taking another gross body, and that's why you have to see from a holistic viewpoint, not just focus on one lifetime and think that this person is this body. No, that's a very narrow-minded approach. And there is obviously we appreciate any type of welfare activity. It is definitely recommended, and it is also sanctioned by the Lord. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that if you cannot perform bhakti to me, then you at least you can help others. So that way people can get some kind of uh, recognition, and they can also uh, accrue a lot of pious, um, you know, pious, lot of pious, activities, and that's how they can actually get a good reaction for their karma. But ultimately, we know that the soul is actually eternal, and we have to help someone in the form of the soul, not just the body. Now, um, so ISKCON, so in spite of, let's even separate the part of helping the soul. If you just look at the bodily concept, then also ISKCON is actually providing a lot of help. Now, what we do provide is basically we actually distribute a lot of prasad. Normally, people they distribute food, but what we do is we sanctify the food, and then it becomes prasad, which is basically the remnants of the Lord, and then we distribute those remnants to the poor and the needy. Okay, and that's how ISKCON is actually performing a lot of social welfare activities also. Then we are also opening hospitals. We are also opening charitable organizations. We are also helping people donate. We are also giving charity to a lot of poor people in villages. We are also providing them food, shelter, and clothing. It's not that ISKCON is only focused on the soul, because we do understand that body and soul, they are interconnected together. You cannot help a person who is dying of thirst. The first thing that you do is basically go and make sure that he gets plenty amount of water. That's the first thing. You cannot just go there and tell him that please chant the holy name. Okay, the person is not in a state of any kind of thought process where he can think about spiritual life when he's dying of thirst. So the first thing, or someone is in a very painful condition, so the first thing that we do is basically relieve the pain of that person, and then we also give him higher knowledge. So basically, a holistic approach is required for these things, and ISKCON is doing that completely. If you see these days, ISKCON has been awarded a lot of recognitions by the Prime Minister of India, by a lot of organizations from abroad, especially the Govardhan Eco Village has been recognized throughout the world because of its preservation of environment and the special use of the facilities for eco-friendly nature, natural surroundings and everything. So there are many examples of this in ISKCON where we are helping people in a very gross form also, and along with that we are also providing them spiritual knowledge, because we know that's the ultimate reality of life, that something that we cannot ignore. So one time, I do remember His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. He was criticized by one of the environmental ministers of India when she accidentally met Maharaj in an airport, and she saw Maharaj because he was wearing his sannyas robes, and so she was kind of angry. She was not satisfied that this they thought that, I mean, she was thinking that these people, they are just chanting the holy name and they are just trying to spread religion, and religion is not going to have any significant contribution in terms of environment. So she went to Maharaj and she expressed her thoughts, and Maharaj actually told her very clearly that unless and until you take away the pollution of the heart, you cannot actually externally take away the pollution. So because even if you clean everything outside, but internally if your heart is polluted with the problem of anger, greed, pride, illusion, lust, then all these ultimately what will happen? The pollution will again come out. So it is not just about external pollution. External pollution will also come out, but even the pollution of the vices will also affect the environment. and that will create a great disaster compared to the external pollution. So this was a very befitting reply to her criticism, and she was satisfied. She basically she was specified, and then she started having conversation with Maharaj. So basically, what is most important is overall character and growth of a person. That's the most important thing in one's life. It is not just about accumulating money, or it is not just about doing good to others in terms of external needs, because one may be able to spend millions of rupees and give charity, but who knows, if the person to whom he is giving charity, he may become a thief in the future, he may become a gangster, he may become you know a, a corrupted politician, or he may do all sort of nonsense things without any morals, without any ethics. He may cheat people, he may kill people also. Being a businessman, he may also uh, destroy the lives of others, right? So all these things are there. Externally, we cannot do much. We can help people to certain level, but then the real transformation and the real, if you want to change the world, if you want to see the transformation of people, if you want to make the world a happy place to live in, then you cannot rule out the inner values that you need to develop. And those inner values, they are provided by ISKCON. They are provided by spiritual organizations. And that's why we'll see that, ISKCON, they are conducting so many workshops, so many seminars. There are so many of our, like for example, we have our Gaur Gopal Das, then we have Dr. Vivek Bindra, and so many of them who are motivational speakers, who are motivating millions of people throughout the world. So why people are looking towards all these spiritualists? A spiritualist will never take guidance from materialistic person. It is always the other way around. This is very interesting. Only a materialistic person will turn to spirituality, but a spiritualist will never turn to a materialistic person. Why? Because spiritualists, they have learned the art of becoming happy and satisfied. But a materialist, because of their greed, pride, they are actually getting more and more entangled in the material world, and all these vices are developing more and more. So they are in constant anxiety. They're not at all satisfied, and they would like to share everything with someone. So this is the contribution that ISKCON is making, and it is, I think, the greatest welfare contribution.
Yeah. Yes. That's really interesting, very educational for the society to understand the real purpose of ISKCON. It's not about exhibition. It's not about gaining a lot of followers. What will be the purpose of gaining a lot of followers? When, the more followers you get, the more people you have to manage. But it's more like it's absolutely for the welfare of the society, holistically, as you said, like from spiritual point of view, which is the essence, but at the same time caring for that house within which the soul is housed. So the body, the mind. So it's wonderful. So thank you so much, Pratik, for taking time to enlighten us and everyone who's watching this about the purposes that ISKCON is serving, and maybe we can hope for more support from the general public, not necessarily financial, but just accepting that this organization is trying to do something that will really benefit society. So thank you again for joining us. And we hope to, of course, that's the plan, that we're going to have many more such sessions every month so people can benefit. If you have, do you have any other words for our viewers and of course for us that you would like to share before we end today?
Yeah, so basically there are more questions to be addressed, but we can continue in the next session, because I think the time is over now. And maybe if some other person has any question, just one question or one or two questions, then we can address it. Otherwise, we can wind it up. So we have another participant also,
Yeah, we
and
have.
if she has any question.
Swati, do you
Okay.
have any questions for Pratik?
No, thank you for the very good sessions. You covered so many questions which many people have doubts. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us every month since we began this. Thank you, Swati. Okay, so we are going to stop here, but not stop forever. We are going to continue again next month. We'll come back with a new topic, or maybe we'll discuss some of the other questions that people have.
Yeah, we have some remaining questions also, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So thank you all for joining. Thank you, Aritra, for hosting.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.